Yo, what is up guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. Does anybody ever have the issue where as a league is coming to an end in the Go Battle League or a specific meta, they seem to find a team that works really well for them right as the league is coming to a close? Well, that's me right now with this team of Umbreon, Galvantula, and Toxapex. I was able to go on a pretty epic winning streak here and eventually get into the 3300s elo range. So we're going to take a look at this team. I've got a unique moveset on Umbreon running Foul Play Psychic here, and I feel like Psychic really comes in handy against Toxapex and other things. I end up swapping out, and unfortunately this Umbreon is also running Psychic, so it is going to dish out some damage here against our own Toxapex, giving us a taste of our own medicine. And then we are going to go for a Sludge Wave here. Umbreon is obviously so bulky, they're going to be reluctant to shield anything. We land the Sludge Wave for some nice damage. They eventually swap out into their own Toxapex, and to be honest, I think this is doing me a favor because I can potentially either force this Toxapex to throw energy or save my own and get out of here and dish out some Psychics of my own against this opposing Toxapex. They're going to hit me with a move. I'm going to actually shield it, expecting a potential Sludge Wave. And we get the shield, or we shield correctly, I should say. Going to go for a Psychic here. This will not KO. We know how tanky Toxapex is, but it does grab a shield. I'm already at another Psychic. Snarl, such a spammy, good energy generation, fast move. And another move coming through. We're actually going to preserve our Umbreon here. And in comes a Nidoqueen. And I'm pretty glad that I preserved my Umbreon. I'm going for a Foul Play bait here, thinking he might shield the Psychic, but no, he doesn't. Really interesting. Gonna throw a move at us here. At this point, I'm thinking like, okay, he has to shield now. So I'm gonna bait again with Foul Play. And this mad lad just doesn't want to shield his Nidoqueen. So obviously the win condition he's seeing is different than the win condition I'm seeing for him. So he just lets the Nidoqueen go. Oh my god, wait. There were no shields. I'm tripping. There were no shields. But it doesn't matter. Rise forgot how to play the game. Still gets the win as he lunges the Umbreon and gets the there were no shields. Past Rise and present Rise, both under the same confusion, not realizing the opponent had already committed both shields. That is wild. We are going to dip out of here and go for a lunge against Umbreon. This is actually a pretty close matchup, especially when Umbreon gets a head start, because these foul plays do chunk. But it looks like I'm willing to tank a second one, so I'm willing to give up switch here because I don't want to go down a shield. I'm going to undercharge this lunge. I get the shield anyway. Do I get snarled down? I do, but I can tank all this energy on my Umbreon. This opposing Umbreon is double debuffed, so these foul plays are going to do really little. And I'm actually willing to go over 100 energy, so I can just completely snarl this thing down. I'll have to take several foul plays in the process, probably like 4. But it won't even put me to like 60% health. Going for a big snarl down here. We're going to be at like 200 energy by the time we get this farm down. Umbreon versus Umbreon. And here we go. 100 energy. What's going to come in? It's an Azu. Okay. So was it a Sableye lead, if I remember correctly? So we're going to swap in Toxapex. Marowak. Remember, it was a ghost. And Toxapex does pretty well here. And honestly, like, Umbreon up that much energy with a shield advantage might even be able to take on Azu. So we're not necessarily going to want to commit our shields here. I'm actually okay with just forcing the last shield, and Umbreon up 2 shields should be able to handle Azu. I call the Bone Club. Gonna go for a Brine here. And Marowak gonna throw another move here eventually. If it's a Bone Club, I should be able to live this, so I'm actually not gonna shield. And I actually store the energy I had. I go into Umbreon. My Umbreon is up 2 shields against this Azumarill. We know that Marowak is still lurking, so we just have to be aware of that. We know Marowak might try and catch in the endgame. Have to respect the play rough, so yeah, just committing my shields. Also, anything the Azu throws is probably going to do more than anything the Marowak could throw at us, so I might as well just shield. Azu is starting to approach Psychic range, which is good for us. We shield another play rough. Over farming here. Get off another Psychic. I might even be able to combo here with Toxapex. I combo with Toxapex. It's a simul KO, and we get off the foul play buzzer beater before the timer goes off. Even if Marowak had gotten a move off there before the timer, I think we would have been more healthy and gotten the win. So that was a GG. Fairly hard countered by the opponent. Not a whole lot they could have done. Umbreon versus Nidoking. This is where Psychic really comes in handy, because you can simply like Psychic foul play rather than 2 foul plays not quite KOing and making it kind of awkward. Psychic, bang, does some big damage. Gonna let the first one go through. I'd rather eat an Earth Power than like get baited. So we were able to call the Poison Fang. I'm gonna throw here on poor timing, but just to get it off as quickly as possible. Pressure a shield. And at this point, I'm kind of happy with shield advantage, right? And one concept I like to tell people, like when I do coaching sessions and stuff, is if I can just get rid of this Nidoqueen, my Galvantula in back is likely going to have a lot of play, because this is probably their best Galvantula answer. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, is that Galv can just go off in the back. Let's see what comes in. It's a Mandibuzz. Okay, so we're going to swap in Galv, and it's an Escavalier. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh man, Galv is about to go berserk bananas. We can simply shield a Drill Run here and Volt Switch all the way down. Volt Switch is a really good fast move. The only con to it is it's kind of slow, being a 4-turn move. And our opponent recognizes it's over. It's over, dog. He was probably feeling good when he Earth Powered that Toxapex. He's like, Nidoqueen going berserk. I'm like, no, sir. Galvantula, the Tarantula, is going off. So, this is kind of awkward. I should have swapped here immediately, because once I saw Fairy Wind, I should swap out of here. But if it was Fire Fang, right? If it was Fire Fang, I felt like I kind of had to stay in, because Galv can't really afford to see it later. But because it's Fairy Wind, I actually probably should have swapped Toxapex right away. Now we're up against this Sableye. This is a good matchup for Sableye. But Toxapex is so bulky, it can hold its own. He's going to throw on great timing here. He's going to CMP us. I know I'm not going to be able to flip this unless I am willing to commit an extra shield. And even then, I might not be able to flip it. So just going to let the move go through. And look at this. We actually do flip it, just because we outbulk the Sableye. That's pretty crazy. In comes Mawile. And this is awkward, because we're probably going to have to come back in with Umbreon. Or do I? No, I come in with Galv. Gonna have to respect a charge move here. Play Rough would destroy us. In comes Marowak. Okay. So now this is going to be really awkward, because I want to take out the Marowak, but I also have to make sure the Mawile can't get to 2 moves to take out both Umbreon and Galvantula. So this is pretty dang awkward. I throw Foul Play immediately, which does give him an extra Fairy Wind, which is pretty tough. But now this Mawile just needs to overfarm as much as possible, and it might be able to close the deal. We are close to a move, though. They do a perfect undercharge, But, oh, we do have the move loaded. So we are fine here. We actually won past the discharge. And Galvantula, the Tarantula, takes down the opponent. Check this out. Jash Protector, Jash H2O Protector, with a Crocodile in the lead. And this is kind of awkward. I wasn't actually sure what moveset this thing had. So I'm like, okay, let me eat the first. It's an Earthquake. Yikes. But with no Last Resort, this makes this a little bit awkward. We could probably two-shot this thing with Last Resort, but because we're running Foul Play, we're going to need at least 3 to take this out. Foul Play, chunking. I'm like, I'll respect the Earthquake here. If he baits, he baits. It is an Earthquake, so I'm going to overfarm here a bit. And I wasn't necessarily counting, but this just seemed too quick for me to be an Earthquake. So I do call the Crunch, and Foul Play should be enough to KO from here. So we're going to have to commit an extra shield to take switch advantage. But that's okay. In comes Scrafty. I kind of panic and throw Foul Play here. Should have either thrown Psychic or just saved the energy. I'm going to dip out into Toxapex. And because both my Toxapex and my Galv have a good matchup against this Scrafty, I felt like this was pretty safe. I go for the Brine Bait, thinking that he might want to commit a shield since he still has both his shields. But no, he calls it like a savage. I want to save a shield for Galv, since Galv typically needs shields. And I actually get the full jab down, so nice awareness there of how much energy the Scrafty had. In comes a Salandit. Or a Salazzle, sorry, a Salazzle, which is going to have a hard time incinerating down our Toxapex with those Incinerates being resisted. I'm willing to tank a move here. Since I got both shields, I figure I can just get off a discharge and I should be okay. And then check this out. I realize the Salazzle has now doubled up on Poison Fangs, so I shield the first and I catch the second. And I have the discharge loaded because I wasn't exactly sure if my Galvantula would win charge move priority or not. So rather than taking that risk, I actually catch the move and discharge for the win. I also theoretically could have like just taken the first Poison Fang and it probably wouldn't KO. So that was another potential play there. Good lead against our alter ego, Chris R. Martin. Yeah, this is... Oh, I remember this game actually. Shoot. So he Poison Fangs us. I'm so bad at giving games away. He shields our discharge. And at this point, I'm like, man, he's going to try and flip for switch. So I should really lunge here. I should really lunge. But I don't because I'm like, you know, at this point, I probably get farmed down anyway. I probably should have lunged the first time. I should have lunged both times and I would have been able to keep switch most likely. Gonna come in here with Umbreon. And this dang Golbat, dude. So annoying. It's just gonna keep chipping away. A little bit of mutual lag here. And if I try to commit to a Snarl down, I'm gonna have to take another Poison Fang after this one. It's gonna put my Umbreon quite low, so I actually do end up foul playing, which is debatable. Maybe it would have been better to come out with more energy. In comes a Fairy Wind Mawile. I go for an attempted catch. In comes Sabe. This is kind of awkward. Gonna shield here. Ends up being a foul play bait, so just everything going wrong. I go for the brine. If I had called that foul play bait, I think I'm in an okay spot. But now he can go for either double foul play or return if he reaches the return here. But he smartly goes for double foul play. So I guess it would have been the same. I get off the brine, but unfortunately this won't quite KO. And Umbreon is 1 away. So literally, there were like a dozen things in that game I could have done differently. I could have baited the Golbat. I could have committed to the Sludge Wave against the Sableye, since that does more. I could have done a foul play when the Mawile came in, and then I would have had a foul play there. So many things went wrong for me that game. And also credit to our opponent, Chris R. Martin, for playing very well and taking back switch. As soon as he took back switch, he put himself in a good position to win the game. And yeah, he played correctly, and we just made so many mistakes there. So many things we could have done differently to potentially flip that result. But very well played by him. One of those games you're just like, oh man, should have had that one at the end. As we search for our next opponent. And here we go. Should be queuing up shortly, but I think that was like a 4-1 set. Or close to it. You see our Elo's at 32-39 now. Jon Snow from House Stark. Okay. They swap Toxapex. We swap Galv, which surprisingly is a little bit uncomfortable for Galv because Toxapex can tank one of these discharges. They elect to shield. So it seems like they're going to try and fight for switch. You kind of have to shield as the Galvantula because Galv can't really tank these moves very well. Going for another discharge. This way I guarantee either the shield or to knock out the Toxapex. I get the second shield, so this is fine. I can safely shield here and get off my next move and retain switch advantage. Going for a discharge. Bop knocks out the Toxapex. We're going to get farmed down by a Nidoqueen, which is kind of awkward. And I'm like, okay, I guess I come in with Toxapex here since we know that there's a Sableye. And our Umbreon's going to be really valuable here. Now, this is just a really obvious situation, right? Where we know they're going to try and catch our brine on their Sableye. So we're just patient. We save the energy for the Nido. And now, we just have to be a little bit weary. The only lose condition for us would be like taking out the Sableye and allowing the Nidoqueen to jab us down. So yeah, so we just have to avoid that from happening. The Nido doesn't have that much energy. It's got maybe like 2 or 3 poison jabs worth of energy. So I'm just over farming here. I know I can live a return. So I just double up on foul play. And this way I can simply foul play the Nido and then combo play it with a brine before they even get to a move. So perhaps unnecessary. Perhaps I would have been fine if I just took out the Sableye before that second return. But just didn't want to risk any shenanigans. And we get the win. So yeah, I think either or would have been fine. I think just taking out the Sableye before that return would have been fine. Because Umbreon would have been so dang healthy that they would have needed to like Earth Power us. Either way, Jose. Oh, we queue into the wrong league. Let's go. We queue into the Open Great League. It happens at least like once every other set. Sometimes it's like 3 times in a day. I do it all the time, dude. Whenever it's the same league, I queue into the wrong one all the time. Umbreon chunking away with foul plays. We swap in Toxapex. We're met by a Reggie. This is bad, dude. This is so bad. I legit thought about top lefting right here. I was like, okay, this is over. You might have saw me like my tapping like slow for a moment. I was like, okay, do I just top left now or do I top left later? We get debuffed, unfortunate. I'm over farming a ton. I'm almost like wanting the Reggie just to like throw its next move, but the opponent wisely doesn't. I throw double brine and maybe I'll dip out of here. Or will I? Yeah, I dip out of here just to like, oh, and they swap. I shield. And check this out. They freaking bait my Umbreon, dude. like a savage. But now I know this is just a sky attack, so I can actually overfarm here, which is kind of nice. I still have my Toxapex as a catch opportunity later on. And it's a Swampert, and I'm like, oh crap, dude. Shoot. Not a Swampert. I expected him to CMP me there, so I didn't throw right away. But this guy just being a savage. And at first I was like, what the heck? Like, why is he not throwing his double when I have a move? But on second thought, like, he still has 2 shields, so we didn't really need to. And yeah, queuing into the wrong league there. Just didn't quite work out. Okay, this is kind of bad. Toxapex versus Worm. So normally Toxapex acts as the safe swap with his team. Against an Azumarill lead, I think Galvantula is the better safe swap because it's like your softer counter, right? Galv's your softer counter to Azu. And what you're going to end up seeing with this team, once we reveal the final Pokemon, is if I had swapped Galvantula, I would have made this trainer's life a lot more difficult. But because I swapped the Toxapex, he's just living the sweet life of RPS. Coming with Umbreon. I know my Umbreon's lined up against Azu anyway. So I'm just thinking, like, okay, let's just put it all on Galv. I swap Galv. In comes opposing Umbreon. Unfortunately, I let in a free Snarl, but I just kind of wanted to debuff him as quickly as possible. So, I don't know. Questionable play by me. Gonna shield the first one, since I'll be able to debuff him again. They're here with good timing. Gonna start getting some shields off of this Umbreon. Now I'm going to get hit by a lunge, or sorry, a foul play. Going to throw here again with good timing. And check this out. The Umbreon actually lets it go. Saves a shield for Azu, which I think is kind of smart. So I know the Azu is likely going to throw after one bubble here for proper timing. So you'll see what I actually do is I actually wait a bit, and then I catch. And this keeps me in the game, since my Galvantula is going to threaten a move later on. I get off a Psychic here. The Azu is also debuffed. And defense fails. That's pretty massive. The opponent going to get off a move here. And now we just hope that our Galv can get to a move before Azu gets to a move. Come on, Galv. We're 2 away. But no, the Azu was also only 2 bubbles away, so it gets there first. But imagine, right, if I had swapped my Galv, hindsight's 2020, if I had swapped my Galv, they probably respond with their Wormadam. And then our backline, if we're able to take switch there, which we should be able to with at least like a bait, our backline probably wins that game. So just swapped in the wrong Mon there as my safe switch. If I swap in Galv right at the start, I think we're in a good spot. But still played a fairly good game. Made it close in the end. And we're on to the next battle. Who's up next? Let's see. Umbreon versus Toxicroak. Yikes. Tough lead. We do have Psychic, though. The thing is, I personally don't think you want to stay in there and go for Psychic, right? Because it almost telegraphs to your opponent that you do have Psychic. Kind of telegraphs to your opponent that you have Psychic, and they're almost certainly going to shield it. Sludge Wave lands. It's a close, pretty even matchup here. Foul play going to chunk our Toxapex. Going for another Sludge Wave. If we can take back Switch, that'd be nice to get Galv onto Toxicroak. I end up catching here, which is debatable. Like, it might have been better to not lock myself in. But I thought maybe this would decrease suspicion of me having Psychic. However, you're going to see our opponent come in with an Obstagoon. Check this. So I'm like, oh, dang it, dude. I thought I had this. I'm like, oh, man, I wanted to Psychic a Toxicroak. For some reason, they shield. I don't really know why. They definitely didn't suspect Psychic if they were committing that shield. So, kind of an interesting shield by them. Gonna take a move here on Umbreon. At this point, I'm thinking, like, hopefully Galv can just close this out. I save a move for later with my Umbreon. I gotta shield something at this point, right? Gotta shield something. Gonna lunge here right away. This way, if Goon stays in and shields, maybe I can afford to take the next move. But then they swap into Toxicroak. And this is becoming a little bit scary. I overfarm a little bit here. I'm one away. But I'm starting to forget how much energy the Obstagoon had. Umbreon has a move. This might be enough to take me out. And then if I remember correctly, I think I make a critical error here. And I didn't realize the Goon already had a move. If I had caught on my Umbreon right there, I potentially win the game. However, my opponent also could have undercharged and just countered down and might still win anyway. So just didn't play out my win con there. A little bit sloppy and well played by the opponent. Definitely a winnable game where I just didn't play my best. Psychic here. This is where it really comes in handy once again against Toxapex. This goes from like a slightly negative matchup to a slightly positive matchup when you're running Psychic as opposed to Last Resort. Gonna go for another one here. Because as you can see, you can take it out with like 3 charge moves when you're running Psychic, as opposed to if you're just going straight foul play, it's probably going to take like 5 foul plays to take it out. In comes Scizor, so we're going to safe switch into our Galv, and this game I know is already pretty much over. Unless we misplay. This becomes a little bit sketchy because, like, I don't really need to shield here, but this just felt like kind of an awkward situation, and I felt like getting a shield off my opponent would be nice. But they wisely let it go and put it all on Scizor. And now Scizor is going to have 2 shields, which is going to make things a little bit uncomfortable for me. 2 shield advantage Scizor. Shiny Shadow Scizor, by the way, very cool. Like in our last video. And if Scizor gets a boost, I think we're done for. So we are just anxiously hoping that there is no boost. You could argue I should have gone for Psychic here for a potential defense drop, but I just go for the foul play. And now it's all up to Toxapex. Toxapex should be able to take 3 Night Slashes and close this game out as long as Scizor doesn't boost. So that's basically what this game is coming down to. Night Slashes are going to be spamming off. It's a 10% boost chance, right? Or is it like 12.5? I forget. Another Night Slash coming through. We're at the double brine. Let's go. As long as this next one isn't a charge move priority, we should have it. Will Toxapex get off the brine? It will. Able to survive the bullet punches and take out Mr. Shiny Shadow Scizor. So just kind of out bulking the Scizor there. Kind of a weird matchup, right? Like, we're both resisting each other's fast moves. But Toxapex just completely out-tanks the Scizor. I think we got like 3 more battles here. These were later at night, as you can see by the time. Opponent safe swaps a Nidoqueen, and this is honestly our best Nidoqueen answer, so this is good for us. In terms of our backline, Galvantula can beat Sableye, and Toxapex can like at least hold its own against Sableye, so I'm fine staying in here, at least for now. I know this is just a Poison Fang, so really no reason for me to shield here. Gonna do 1 Snarl and foul play. I grab a shield, interesting. Tried to catch a Poison Fang, kind of an awkward catch attempt. I shield here, which it does end up being an Earth Powers. That's a pretty good shield. In comes Sableye. It's behind a few fast moves, so I might be able to win this matchup here. Sometimes you can tell like how XL'd a Sableye is. It seemed like this one's pretty XL'd at Brine. Didn't seem to do as much as it has done in previous matchups. Going for another Brine here. Just want to put some pressure on Sableye. That Nidoqueen that's still lurking is going to be a bit of a nuisance to deal with for Galv. I swap Galv here, hoping one Volt Switch KOs, and it does, which doesn't allow Sableye to get to another move. In comes Nido, which makes sense. I'm going to go for the lunge here to either force the last Protect Shield or just get rid of this Nido. They commit a shield, which surprises me. I decide this Galv might be very good against what's in back, so I do actually shield a Poison Fang, and it's a Toxapex, and I'm actually going to lunge here. And I didn't necessarily expect the shield. Oh, no, wait, they're out of shields. Dude, I did it again. Wait, why did I even do that? I don't know. But I'm going for a Psychic here. Oh, and check this out. Boom! Waited a turn. Caught the move. They undercharge and try and get a farm down, but now we're one off the foul play. Really need this foul play to KO. And then one Snarl should take out the Nidoqueen. Let's go. We lived one jab. And we get the win. That was a pretty crazy win. Maybe I made it closer than it needed to be. But still pretty exciting stuff, man. Nice little catch at the end to win the game. Wheezing. Wheezing. Easy. Kind of an awkward matchup, right? Like, we have to respect the play rough here. But our Psychic is also pretty devastating for Wheezing if we land it. So I'm going to go for the Psychic. Land the Psychic, very nice. I get to this next one first, and then check out this next play after this Psychic. I wait for one Fairy Wind, and then I catch on Toxapex. A nice catch there. In comes Galv, which is not great by any means, but we can pretty much just let this go and get off one move and maybe even get a shield from Galv. And I'm patient here, getting as many jabs as I can before throwing my move, and Sludge Wave will either take out this Galv or get the last shield. It grabs the last shield. This is now kind of awkward though, right? Because this Galv with energy is a bit of a menace for the rest of our team. I'm going to actually take this. And then check this out. I foul play here, and I'm hoping this puts it into like 2 Volt Switch range, which will allow me to farm down. And this works out perfectly. Now we've got Galv in a shield against a low health Wheezing and whatever's in back. Ends up being a Sableye. I'm going to lunge here right away. Sableye's going to get our last shield, but we should be fine here because Wheezing just played rough. It probably doesn't have that much energy. Wheezing comes back. I do lunge here, which in the moment I didn't realize was double resisted. I was thinking single resisted. I'm like, oh crap, but it actually works out for the best. So I'm not going to claim that that was a calculated lunge to get one more Volt Switch and then get more energy for the Sableye. That was actually just me making a bit of a, well, I don't know if you call it a misplay, but a mental misplay. And it actually worked out for the better. Jetsen is, I believe, the last battle of this video, and a positive lead here against Golurk. He swaps in a Galv, and we actually don't have a good Galv response on our team, so this is kind of awkward. And we're going to have to maneuver around here. Going to have to maneuver around to try and maintain alignment. I am going to shield here first, because I do need to make sure I maintain switch. I actually lose charge move priority here. Which is going to make this kind of tricky. I do no bubbles, so I can try and farm down the Galv, but he actually shields. And to be honest, I think he was better off not shielding, because if he just fully mud slaps me down, I think that Golurk causes huge problems. But now there's a Wigglytuff, and now we should be in a pretty good spot. I'm going to lunge this just to make my Toxapex take less damage when I completely poison jab down here. And we should be in a pretty good spot. Golurk does have some hard-hitting moves like Earth Power and Dynamic Punch. However, our Umbreon is still so healthy that it should be alright. Should be able to live one. Gonna do one jab and throw. And then do the same here once again. Golurk has no choice but to shield. And we'll be able to swap in our Umbreon. I'm one away, try to catch him off guard. Phenomenal reaction and catch from our opponent. But I think despite the catch, we should still be fine. Umbreon's still super healthy. It's going to be a charge move priority here, but Dynamic Punch is non-stab. I think Umbreon should be able to tank it, and it does, with maybe like 12% health to spare. And foul play, bang, we'll take out the Golurk for a nice win to end the video. Longer video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm recording this early morning. Haven't had my coffee yet, so maybe that's why I like forgot when people had shields or didn't have shields and made a few funny mistakes. But anyway, we get a nice winning streak here with Galvantula, and we actually get to 3307 with this team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below. All comments help the algorithm. Subscribe if you are new. All that said, thank you for watching. I very much hope to see you in the next one. Peace.